And I'm gonna go live on my page. So let me go do that real quick. And we'll get going with this amazing presentation today. You guys can hear that I'm gonna do a little stall. Okay, looks like we're good to go there. Super duper. All right, you guys, welcome. I'm really happy to have you all here with Donna Ashton, who is coming in as an expert to help us understand course creation. I know that everybody's interested in doing courses, and for good reason, right? There's lots of amazing reasons to understand how to do this and understand how to do it a little bit better. One of them is passive income. That's huge. And if you guys are creating digital courses, getting your brilliant, brave words and work out into the world in a bigger way, courses is a huge way to do that, whether you're doing live versions or digital versions. But I don't know about you all, but I am interested in bringing some of my work into the world like that and having it be that extra passive income. And some of you also know that one of the reasons we're here is that the Brave Healer Transformation School launched in the beginning of the year, and it's been a little bit rocky, trying to get you guys some support for doing this a little bit easier, a little bit better, so that we can launch the platform with all of the healers who are going to be uploading courses on the platform to, again, get their work into the world in a bigger way. So Donna, thank you so much for being here. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you so much, Laura. It's great. I'm excited to be here with some excited wannabe course creators, or maybe you guys are in the middle of it. We'll talk about all that soon. So let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I am Donna Ashton, and I am owner of Donna Ashton Coaching. And I have been creating, designing, and marketing courses for over 14 years online. So I've been around the block when it comes to creating courses, and I've done dozens and dozens of courses for myself and my own business. And then in 2016, I launched my own second business, which was to help people create courses, because people kept asking me over and over, how can I do what you're doing? How can I only work a few days a week? How can I whatever, have the side hustle or stay home with my kids or whatever they wanted? So I started teaching it, and then I eventually sold my first business, which I think is, I'm going to pause and talk to you, because normally it was a homeschool coaching business. And most of the time people don't get a chance to sell their business, because if they're no longer there doing the coaching or doing the whatever, then their business just kind of is over. But for me, I had really good online courses, and I had everything set and streamlined. I sold certain courses certain times of the year. So I had a friend and colleague who came in and purchased the whole business, because she could just keep selling the courses and keep helping these homeschoolers who needed it. And while I turned my attentions over to helping entrepreneurs and busy service-based businesses, professionals and experts really move into taking their genius and getting it out into the world in a big way, so they can, one, have more time. I find this to be a really huge thing, though. Laura already talked about the passive income part, and that is really fun too. And it's also about how to get more time, because that's the one thing we can't buy, right? We can't make more time. So we need to find a way to duplicate ourselves and to clone ourselves or pull ourselves a little bit back out of our businesses or coaching or whatever your practice, whatever you're doing. If it's only you, then, and you don't show up, you don't get paid, your people don't get the thing they need, you can't help them make the transformation. So having a program, a coaching group, a course, having something on the back end that does the work for you, even if you're sick or on vacation or just don't want to keep saying the same things over and over again, this can help you. Even if you still want one-to-one clients, you don't have to do all of the training every time yourself, by having this course there. Or for those of you who are writing books, people want to go more in depth. People want to have something a little more meaty. You can't do everything in a book. It's a great way to get their feet wet and to get them going in the right direction. And then having something that's a little bit more in depth, or concentrating on one piece of that book, or, you know, when you're speaking and you want to have some kind of upsell, having a course is a really good way to make some money on the back end if you're not being paid as a speaker, or even if you are, to kind of have something there. So I feel like a course is super versatile, and these days everybody wants to have a course. Everybody wants to have, you know, the online business and to kind of have that. But I feel like unless you're putting it together correctly, you're just going to be lost in that sea of other people who are all out there, you know, being a coach or being a life coach or doing whatever they're doing. You know, I think in the last 2 years, like, everyone's come online, right? So even before 2020, the course industry was starting to get very busy with, you know, everybody's an expert, everybody's doing their thing. And now it's 2 years after, and I feel like it's even more important to really structure your course correctly, to know what you do. It's not just about like putting things together. It's so interesting. I had people tell me before COVID or before 2020, they were like, oh, help me. Now they're like, oh, I can use Zoom, so I know how to put a course together. And I'm thinking, okay, I don't understand that, but let's just see how that goes for you. So anyway, so there are some components and things that you really want to do when it comes to doing a course. So just, I want to get like the flavor, if that's okay here for you guys, because I want to bring you what you really do need. So, I mean, how many of you can put in the chat or just raise your hand, how many are actively like wanting to create a course or are trying to create a course when it comes in this group? Just so I can get an idea.
And I'll give you a little bit more detailed flavor as they type their me's.
Okay.
Most everybody here should raise their hand, first of
Okay.
all, because this is a pretty warm group when it comes to the fact that the transformation school were people that already raised their hand and said, yeah, I want to put a course up on the platform, right?
Okay.
And then some people are joining us today that maybe are just interested in the topic. But the one thing I wanted to say to you, Donna, so that you could guide them better, is we gave them a little bit of a structure. We said, hey, you can give us a 90-minute workshop, maybe split into a couple of videos.
Right.
Or you can think about a 4 to 6 module workshop type of class where it's a little bit more in depth, right? And so they have been given those two options in terms of the transformation school. And heck, if you have better recommendations than those two options, I'm totally all ears and want to hear it all. Okay.
Okay.
All
So
right.
have they decided, and or is it just like what they could just whatever and they just give it into you?
So some of them, well, they will have to decide.
They will have to decide.
And they'll have to click that on the menu and they'll have to load based on what they chose.
And
yeah.
One other question for you, do they have, as far as pricing, are you determining that?
Yes.
Okay.
I took over that because that's sometimes a mess with my healer group, is they have no idea what to price things, and that, you know, it just gets messy. So the workshop is going to sell for $97 and the 4 to 6 module course is going to sell for $297.
Okay, just so I don't talk about pricing.
Exactly. Yeah.
We don't have to talk about that.
Well, I'm sure they would love to have some tips at the end, yeah, about that in general.
Okay, great. So first what I want to do is just like you guys take a breath. What I try to do is a little bit of conscious course creating, a little bit of intuition, and we won't take a lot of time, but let's just take like a little bit of a breath. I want you to close your eyes, take a few breaths. Because when it comes to creating things, it's better for it to come not from like, I'm going to sit down and make this course happen. That doesn't work usually very good. So let's just tap into our intuition just for a few minutes. And I just want you to I'm going to give you the question and just see what kind of comes from it. So if you have a business, if you don't, I'm not sure if you guys are like business owners or you're just creating courses, but okay. What does your business, or what does your course, let me have how to phrase it. Like what does your business want your course to be created? Like what does your business want out of this course? Sort of a, here, let me phrase it a little bit better. What does your business want you to create when it comes to this course? So if you have a business, maybe there's a reason you're doing this. Like, what is it that is the reason behind this? not maybe the thing it may not be money, that may be something else. It may be money. So what is your business hoping this course will do? You can pop it in the chat if you want, or you can just keep that, you don't have to. I don't want to put you on the spot, but if it's something's coming. And I want you to think about what your genius is that you're putting into this program. So if you had to think like, what is my genius? What am my good skill set that I'm bringing? What can it be? And it doesn't necessarily have to be this whole whatever. Like I had a VIP day yesterday with one of my clients, and she's like, it's about confidence. It's about, I want to bring that to the world. Like, what is the, like, sort of the underlying thing that you're really bringing when it comes to this course? Ooh, I'm getting some good stuff coming in here. Awareness, good. To wake people up to what's possible for healing. Okay, excellent. All right, I love this. Attracting awakening souls to deep healing and meditation. Passive income, great. Ooh, I want people to become unstoppable. I love it. More comfortable and excited about being seen and heard in greater ways. Oh, I love it. Ooh, non-tangible concept of consciousness into reality. You guys rock. I'm in the right place. Okay, good. I just want to kind of bring a little bit of that, and thank you guys for answering all of that, because I find it super hard, but sometimes I still get into that. Okay, I got to work on this thing, and I sit down with my pen and my paper, and then nothing happens, and then I go take a walk, and it all comes flowing. So that's the first thing, that it's hard to do it from that like tight place of this has to happen. Laura's waiting for me. I've got to get this done. So like breathe. If you are going to like say, okay, I'm going to sit down and do this, hopefully we're going to do some of this together, because she wanted me to like have you do some things. So we're going to actually like do some things here. So whether you are intentionally doing this or not, we're doing it. So, okay. And we have, we don't have a huge group. So if I can also like do a little spotlight coaching with some of you, if that's okay. Okay. For those who are like stuck or whatever, this is my gift. My genius is like kind of listening to what you want to bring and like helping you sort of nail the thing. So the first thing I want to tell you when it comes to creating a course is that it needs to be a marketable course, right? Even though Laura's like helping you with her platform and maybe doing some marketing, we want to make sure that what we're bringing out to market is something that people actually want. Right. And not like what we think is a really great idea. And I call it like finding the migraine problem. And maybe you guys already have that. And hopefully you already have done a little bit of research or have an idea. And maybe you're already doing this with your clients, if you're already doing this in a one-to-one way and helping people with your gifts. And now it's time to bring that in. But many times we also have to make sure that what we're bringing is where the people are actually, what they think they need. Here, let me say it that way, because you guys are like over here, right? Whether it's like you're your ideal person and you have now, let me just take for an instance, somebody about here, for women to be more comfortable and excited about being seen and heard, like from Ginny, just put that in there. So it's like for you, maybe you struggled with that and you've gotten past it, right? So you're down the line and now you're teaching it. But you've got to think about the people who are like there and what they need when it comes to a course. So you really want to make sure that you're hitting what they think they need. So here's an example. I had a client who was a chiropractor, and she was always talking about posture, right? And so she wanted to create this course about posture. And so she was like, she already had some of it formed when she came to me. And so she was like, here's what I've already have. And it was all about this posture. And I said, well, what are people normally coming for? And she's like, oh, well, they're talking about pains. So if we had gone out there and be like, have better posture, like maybe not too many people were going to respond to that. But when we reframed it and talked about the pain, and a lot of them she was talking about was like having this little hump in your neck. And she called it tech neck, especially now where people are like staring down at their phones and their computers and their tablets all day long. So she started talking about that. And then people were like, oh, I have that, or I'm starting to have neck problems. So it was like, if she had talked about the posture, she would have missed a lot of people. But talking about what they think, they weren't thinking, oh, I just need better posture. They're like, my neck hurts, right? My back hurts. So this, I see this a lot with like life coaches and maybe even business coaches, or like, I'm going to help you with your money blocks and all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's like, when you think about, they're like, I need more clients. I need more, I need more, because when you talk about that, it's like, okay, they're not sitting there thinking about, oh, I have to get out there. I mean, maybe they are. Sometimes it's a very cut and dry like thing, like how to house train your puppy. Okay. If it's something like that, it's pretty obvious. It's like, okay, you how to house train your puppy and you know what to do. But many of you, especially in the healer community, are doing things that are what I call people don't know what they don't know, right? You're selling them something, and then you're really bringing a lot more underneath, because there's layers and layers of mindset and energy work and all of this amazing stuff. They don't know what they need. So keep this in mind when you are creating the course. It doesn't mean that you can't put all of that stuff in there. And I know Laura is doing some of the marketing, but you'll probably be doing some marketing as well. So we want to speak to that problem or speak to that pain that then I don't want to be like negative about it, but unfortunately, like people will like be in pain until they can't like get out of bed anymore. Most of the time it's like takes something like that for them to get that, to do that, or something, or like they really, really, really like, I'm just burnt out with my work. I can't do, that's when the people come to me is like, I can't do this anymore. I don't have any time for my family. And how can you help? Like it gets to that point where it's so bad. So we're trying to kind of hone in on that so you can kind of zone in a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So how many of you guys already have an idea of what your course is going to be about? Or just, why don't you pop it into the chat? You have, I know we kind of talked already. You already have a good idea. Okay, great. So let's start with that idea. And you can put it in there. Okay, great. Body shame. That's great. Oh, great. Thanks, Tina. So you have the idea of body shame. Okay, so let's just use that since you put that in connection to your angel mentors. Okay, great. So you have this idea of what you want your course to be about. Now, what I want to move you into is deciding on what the outcome of the course is going to be. And though it sounds easy, it's not. So let's walk through this. It's like, if they come and take this course and go through your, either if it's a 90-minute workshop or it's your 4 modules or whatever you're going to decide to do, and they take all of your stuff, they watch your videos or whatever you're doing, and they take do all your exercise, what will they walk away from? And the reason I have my clients do this is for a couple reasons. One, it kind of creates boundaries for the course, because all of us as women, we want to help and nurture, and we want to like fire hose and tell them everything we ever needed to know about money and manifestation or connecting to our angel mentors. We want to cram 30 years of our experience into this 90-minute workshop or whatever, right? So we want to like take the slice and kind of have a little structure of it. And by you knowing the outcome of the course, it'll also help you with going, okay, so let's just use this for example. So let's say it is how to house train your puppy. It's like, okay, so we're not talking about dog training. If I'm a dog trainer, I know everything about dogs or whatever, but I'm not discussing the commands. I'm not discussing, when the doorbell rings and the dog freaks out. I'm talking just about how to house train the puppy. So when I go to outline my course, I go, let me put my blinders on to every other little thing that I feel like they're going to need to know. And I know you want to help people, but it just makes it overwhelming. And they will be like, I can't get through this. Now, it's great that Laura has created some parameters, because some people come to me and they're like, well, I have 35 modules and a 300-page PDF. And I'm like, okay, no. People these days have very short attention spans. And if you're putting it out to busy people, depending on who your audience is, these days, everybody's busy. Everybody only has a few minutes. So we want to do this in bite-sized chunks, and we want to do this in something that feels that they can get to the end of your course and have success. You want to give them like a quick win, or because what you've got here, even a 4-module course could be in depth. So, but if we give them so much that they're just like, freaking out and like, I can't even get past module 2 because this is going to be so overwhelming, that doesn't help them, and it doesn't help you, because then it's like, oh, I just wasted $300 on that course and I couldn't even finish it. Even though you put your heart and soul into it and you put everything in, you don't want to do it that way, because people just, people need help with implementation these days, right? They really need to be guided through something that's doable. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't give them everything. You just need to get them to the finish line of that outcome. So let's start thinking. I want you right now to start thinking about, when it comes to journaling to connect with your ancestors. I'm just looking at some of the things you guys are putting in here.
Yeah, I'd love to play devil's advocate with a couple people who posted theirs. You
Yep.
guys, when you journal to connect with your ancestors, then what? Then what's the result that you want that you're going to get from the course? So this is so much about titling your course in a proper way that the person recognizes that they actually want that outcome. This
Right.
is so good, you guys. You really have to think about it. So I'm going to keep asking you, well, then what? Then what result will they get that they really want?
Right. So like money and manifestation, that's good, but very broad. So when it comes to money and manifestation, Natasha, like what will they get from this course? Of course, there's many more things, and maybe that's another course you're going to do, or maybe that's an upsell to working with you in a different program or one-to-one or whatever, I don't know. But in this course, if they do all of your things, and again, this is hard. If you're like, I don't know what to say, that's okay, because I find this is the hard part. And if anybody wants to get on here with me and be a volunteer, I'd be happy to walk you, like we can go back and forth with this, because it is hard to figure out. And sometimes it sounds like, oh, I'm going to teach them how to manifest money. Okay, that's great. But like, let's really kind of take it down just a little bit even more. Like, what does that really mean when, we want to give them some practicality, just like Laura was saying. It's like, okay, great. Let me give you some example. There's tons of money manifestation courses, I'm sure, and people out there doing it. And this may come into the next thing, because we're also going to talk about your audience. So we're going to start thinking about who's your audience. So let's say it's money manifestation for, I don't know, like who's your people that you really work with? Maybe you work specifically with life coaches, or I'm just like picking something. I'm just like, maybe it is, or money manifestation for single moms. Maybe it's, and I'm not saying you have to do that, but I'm saying when it comes to courses, you have to have a unique factor these days. The days are over when you can just put up, like, we're going to teach it. I'm a business coach. I'm going to teach you how to do your business. Like, those days are long gone. And now you have to specialize. You have to make yourself, how are you unique from all of the other money manifestation courses out there? What makes and it doesn't have to be something like that no one else is doing. When I first was like talking about this, I don't want you to think that like you're the only person who's invented something super, super, like no one else is doing it, but you need to have a little bit of an edge. And what is your edge? What is your like genius work when it comes to this? Maybe there is a thing that you do. Maybe you have a special, reading the Akashic records to help them. I'm just making something up. Maybe it is you really have worked with professionals or realtors or doctors, and you know that this is what they need help with, and this is how to manifest a very successful practice or something. So it is about these days about niching down. If you've never heard this before, or people have told you, is more important than ever. to do that. It's funny, I just had a conversation with somebody this morning who is like a kind of a business and life coach, and she had an interior designer, she was telling me, and she was thinking about going into equestrian interior design. And she's like, I just don't know because it feels really small. And what if I miss out on all these other jobs? And this woman said in 2 years, she is been flown all over the world. She's in all of these equestrian magazines. She was invited to this huge opening of this big place in North Carolina where they're doing, she's the go-to equestrian designer. So she took a chance. It's a very little, piece of the pie, but that has turned her into the expert and the go-to person in her field.
Oh my
So
God, Donna, that is such a perfect, funny example. You guys, I'm pausing you here because this is the thing that I talk to everybody about over and over and over. And you have to niche if you expect next level success. You have to.
yep.
Like there's no more resisting this anymore, you guys. Like it's just about getting it in your lane so that your right, perfect people recognize that you have exactly what they want. And it's going to change your business.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, I wrote it in the chat right before you said niching. And so I'm like, yes, she's saying it again. Like this is so important.
Yes.
Okay, off you go.
Yeah, and it doesn't, you can do this a couple different ways with a course. Like I said, it can be something that's more proprietary, like your own formula or your own experience and your own special method or whatever. Or it can be like how to manifest money for doctors or how to manifest money for integrated medicine, even more like, you know what I mean? Like really going down into something. So if you're like, well, I don't really have anything that's super like, out of this world, or it feels like it, but I really love working with these people. I understand them. This is kind of what I did when I started my homeschool business, though I had no idea I was doing it at the time because I was doing homeschooling and I was like, well, I'm homeschooling, but we did Waldorf inspired homeschooling, which is a very small piece of those, the Waldorf schools. So I did Waldorf inspired homeschooling, a very niche thing. And I was able to build a very large business because I spoke to just these people and I was very, very specific about what I was doing and the needs for those people. So of course they were going to come to me because I wasn't just talking about homeschool in general. I was being very specific. So your course can be a course. I've told people before, you can have the same course and just say, hey, it's accounting for chiropractors. It's accounting for whatever, like it, but you could have slight tweaks to dealing if these markets. I don't suggest just picking a market that you have no idea. Like if you don't know anything about being a chiropractor or know any chiropractors, don't just pick chiropractor because then you're going to have to try to figure out, well, what does it mean for chiropractors? You know what I mean? So pick something you're familiar with. Many times we are our ideal clients, or were our ideal clients, or are in an area that we can easily kind of move into that. I don't want you to have to go study chiropractors for a year and then try to create a course about it. So don't pick something that you're unfamiliar with and have no context around, but it is really important to kind of work through that. So when it comes to deciding on what you're going to put it into this course, say you're a health coach. So a lot of people are doing health and wellness and all of that. Like say you're going to help people lose 20 pounds. But we also have to think about who is our target audience. So it may be, you're going to create a different course if it's like losing 20 pounds after college versus losing 20 pounds to baby boomers, right? Because the course is going to be totally different. You're not going to be able to put the same exercises or you're not going to get the same results for a 25-year-old as you're for a 65-year-old or whatever. So
Do you mind if I pause you there for a second?
Go for it.
Think about this, everybody. The thing that she just said, think of it for your healing course that you're trying to develop. The topic that you are developing for your perfect ideal client that's going to buy this course. And I thought that was a really great example that she just gave, because the body that would be losing the weight and the mindset and the life stage, everything is different in those two examples she gave you, college versus, what was your other example?
Like baby boomers.
Baby boomers, right. So that's a perfect way to think about your niche for a minute. Think about who exactly is this course for, and it'll help you hone it in. And you guys know that I'm always around for helping you brainstorm this stuff later, okay? And does anyone want to be brave and let Donna talk you through it? Just unmute. First one, you guys. Come on, we got about 20 minutes here left.
I'll go.
Yes, who was that? Go.
Hey.
Okay, Katie.
Okay, good. Well, you just put in the question, right? How specific do you need to be with niching? Is women specific enough? Was that you?
Yeah,
Women is not specific enough.
I figured.
Tell
Well,
me a little bit what you do.
Yeah, so I am a deep coaching practitioner. I'm moving into heart leadership, that space. And I work mainly with women. I actually am working with VC women right now in this incredible program. And the big theme that I've seen with my clients is, how much stress, internal stress, how much stress they have that they're creating for themselves just by how they're dealing with being in the world. And the course that I wanted to create, my sort of niche is somatic, bringing in somatic experiencing and exploration and sensations. The body's intelligence
Okay.
is kind of my sweet spot. And I use the Enneagram and holistic, like all of that. And the course that I'm creating, and I realize my title is not great right now, but it's this fight, flight, or freeze reactions.
Okay.
And in that framework, and shifting from those auto-triggered reactions to actually in the moment, creating that awareness of that it's happening and creating new choices. Like, how am I going to respond rather than just react? So being able to feel more calm and centered and not beat themselves up later for how they reacted.
Okay. And so when people are coming to you, who are they mostly that you're working? I know you're saying women, but give me more. Who are they?
Women in corporate or women entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Leaders or aspiring leaders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So it's not just women.
I mean, it's not. Yeah.
So it's high achieving women, would you say?
Yeah. Driven.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At corporate or entrepreneur. So there's a certain like person who is that, and they are probably very maybe type A or just really, like you said, driven. And so they're stressed and it's causing problems. So why are they coming to you? What is happening that it's causing them to come to you? Like what's the actual thing that's causing the problem for them?
Yeah. So overcoming their fear of taking risks, inner critic, imposter syndrome, wanting to be, more present. There's a lot of now I'm really attracting, I guess, but more like that want to have awareness and be present and have other ways but it's a lot of it's overcoming something like fear.
Yes, that's your migraine problem. So that's the thing that's why they're coming to you. They're like, hey, I'm afraid to go to the next level. It's about fear. It's about fear. It sounds like, for what you said and all of that. It's like their fear of taking risks, their fear of feeling like their imposter syndrome, I'm not good enough. So there's a fear and they're responding in ways they don't want. They want to get past that. So that's the migraine problem for you. So you understand that's what is happening, though you don't have to, like dig at it, but you need to know like that's why they're coming. So when you're now creating a course, but like all of the stuff you said to me at the very beginning, I was kind of like, what is she even talking about? But okay, now I'm like, okay, so how to use the body's intelligence to overcome fear? Like now we're creating something that it's bringing in what you're doing and it's talking to what they need. You don't have to say, oh, growing fear, but we're kind of going in that direction. I'm just giving you some like first drafts here, but because that's what they want. There's obviously some fear. It sounds like for most of these, or they're just feeling like you said, fight, flight, or freeze. To me, that's fear, right? So we're talking about like these really like traumatic like feelings or whatever's coming. And you're moving in that. So when you're thinking about the outcome of what's going to happen, try to figure out what do you need to do to get them. Now, what's going to be the outcome? Now you've kind of got the idea. We talked about your audience. these high achieving corporate entrepreneurs who can't afford to be in this situation, or they're going to miss out on the promotion. They're going to not go to the next level with their business. They're not going to grow their business. Like, so it's harming their careers, their money, and their family. Right. And probably there's personal ways, but you have to spin it with the entrepreneurs about money and career, even though underneath there's other things you can bring that in, of course. But now, how are you going to structure this when they come to you and they go through this? What are they going to get?
Yeah. So, and that's what I've been working on, is a process and a practice.
Yep.
So let's just take fear.
Okay.
Creating awareness to when are they experiencing it? What's happening? Who are they with? What's the impact? Like getting to know so that they can recognize it more readily when it's happening.
Good.
So, and I'm planning to do a 90-minute, just the shorter one, also as an introduction, to give them that piece. Like, how can I actually start to take that first step, or maybe 2 steps to actually overcoming this fear or moving through the fear?
Okay. Yeah, because it's going to take more than a 90-minute course to fix this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you have to just give them the tools to be, maybe like you said, to catch it, to be aware of it, right? You can only take them through, like if you've got a process of 5 steps or 4 steps, let's just say for the sake of Laura's 4-step module thing, 5 steps. Okay. So you can only, you're not going to be able to go, you can go through the 5, you can either go through the 5 steps, but you're not going to get them very far with that. You could tell them the 5 steps, but in this 90-minute workshop, we're going to work on step 1 or whatever, or the biggest, you've got to get them started in something. 90 minutes is not a whole lot of time, but you could chunk it up and give them a good amount, in 90 minutes. So,
and I'll pipe in here and say that you guys can give them a practical experience that changes their life in 90 minutes. So I'm going to go in the other direction, but you and I all both know, we all know that that's the step on the journey. It's like a foundational life-changing step. And then there's going to be so many more steps on their journey with all of you. And that's okay. It's okay that they will then see how to contact you after they've had that life-changing workshop with you. And then they become your coaching client, or they take the next step or whatever. So just remember, you can give a lot of value if you don't try to skim too many steps all at once. If you just really take that advice and do that simple one foundational thing, they are going to have an experience that was long lasting and practical, and it'll affect everything else they do. That's what I want you guys to think of, especially if you're doing the shorter option. And there's a couple of specific questions in the chat for you now, Donna.
Yeah, I'm looking up. I don't know where
Okay.
to start. Okay. Well, one more word over here to her. So it's like, yeah, so you can start. Awareness is a big part. If you're going to do a 90-minute, then having that awareness. So a couple of you said awareness. Sometimes that is the very first step when you're doing a lot of this. So if that, just like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm doing, right? It's like having that piece. And then maybe there's something else that can take them. I was looking at Rebecca's here. Let's see, most of my clients come to me because they have cancer, some of the life-threatening illness, and want to write their stories, but that's hard to say. Okay.
Yeah, Rebecca had she's talking about her niche, which I think is extremely powerful, by the way, Rebecca Gold.
Oh, there's 2 Rebeccas?
Rebecca Ward is also got a specific thing that she can work on. And both of you ladies, yes, powerful, and honing in exactly who that person is and what their problem is going to be really, really good for both of you.
Rebecca Ward is the one I wanted to talk to, because I've heard this, like a very individualized healing path. Let's talk about that, because I find with healers that is a concern. They're like, well, how can I do this? Of course, when I have to put my hands on someone, or it depends on what they're doing, how I treat them, right? So I'd love to talk with you if we got just a second. If you want to, I don't know where you are on this thing, but if you want to unmute and talk, we can talk through this just a minute, because I feel, or I can just talk if you're not willing, if you don't want to come on. This is Rebecca Ward Williams. She's still here.
I unmuted.
Okay, I guess I just can't see you. So, okay, you must be on the other page.
Yeah, she's just not on the video, that's all.
Oh, you're not on the video. Okay.
And I'm in Florida, so it may be lagging.
Oh, okay. Bless your heart. Okay. Hang on there. Okay. Yeah. So what is it that you do? Just tell me real quick, what you're doing.
I mentor men and women all over the world who are recovering from traumatic childhoods, as well as domestic violence and intimate partner violence relationships.
Okay. So, yeah. So for you, I think you're going to be it's going to be super important for you to kind of figure out what you're going to do, because you told me a couple different things here, right? So one, in a course, you probably can't talk to everyone about something like this.
Correct.
I had a client who was
Correct.
helping, I had a client who had a book and she wanted to create a course, and it was about women who are later in life who either had a death of a spouse and were starting over, or getting a divorce after being married for 40 years and we're starting over. And I said, listen, that's two different people with two different traumas. You need to pick one and go with that. So for you, yes, you have a lot, and there's a lot there. So you've got to be very specific. Even in your one-to-one healing can do different things. Your course probably cannot. If you want to help somebody actually walk through it, unless you want to do a very general course on trauma, then it may be, violence from a spouse. I can't remember what you said, or as a childhood trauma or something, like how to do that.
My basic aim is to let people know that they are not alone and that there are tools out there, which is kind of why the broad category, because they actually fit together. It's almost, violence is even later in marriages, it's almost like multimodality. It happens often because of ACE, so they mesh in the healing practice. So my aim is to reach out and grab that individual and let them know you're not crazy, you were abused.
Okay. So it is sort of
there
an
are
awareness
things out there for you.
So maybe an awareness, and give them some tools to start delving into it. So it's like trauma tools.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So giving them, and then if they need extra like one-on-one attention, then it could be something that you just have at, I'm sure that Laura would, at the end of the course, like they'll have the information to contact you, right?
Exactly. And then I'm hoping to create further content so that people can then tailor their healing to their specific needs.
Okay.
But
I think you guys, for some of you with these topics, you might even be creating a course that is the awareness that the individual finally sees themselves and stops denying that is who they are and that they need this kind of help. So the workshop takes them through the steps of awareness. And what a gift that is. And then they will need to take the next step with you to continue the journey, right? That's kind of what we're talking about there. You guys, Donna, I want to make sure a couple of the little kind of easy questions are answered.
Let's fire through these.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, best platform from recording videos. I suggest Zoom, though I know people are talking about Loom. The reason I like Zoom, and again, it just depends because I'm not sure what Laura's taking. I like Zoom because you get a video and audio. And I put both, when I do courses for people, I will put both because you don't have to do anything and it automatically gives you, and most people now know how to use Zoom and they can share screen and do slides. And it's a very accepted and not complicated. So, and Loom also, will do some of that as well. It doesn't give you anything but your video, recording at the end, but both are very good. So
and
that's
Pam B, who asked that question, any follow-up question to that? Anything more specific you wanted to know?
I guess I probably do this the hard way, but it was like I would record on Zoom and then upload it into YouTube, but then my video doesn't seem like it looks as good. And I could just be my internet making that happen.
Or it's your equipment, sorry to say. So if you guys have older computers and you're not like recording in the higher like 4K type of stuff. It's just the video quality. But honestly, in my opinion, it really doesn't matter when you have valuable content that somebody is learning from. And, you know, so those pieces can be worked out later when you have the budget to have the better video equipment and all that good stuff. But honestly, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I mean, what I've been told too is that if you record to your computer versus recording to the cloud, it's a little bit better quality. So you can try that, but I totally agree. I'm about making it simple and easy. And as long as it's not blurry, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, top quality. People think they have to get a videographer to come in. Very rarely would I suggest that for people doing courses. You can just sit here, do your thing. And, you know, as long as it's clear and you have a light, you know, you can get a ring light or just use a light from your house, like make sure you're lit up enough and you've got a microphone. If you don't, you know, make sure you can hear, test yourself with a 1 or 2 minute video and then make sure that you can hear it and it's not like blurry.
And Donna, do you use, sometimes I'll do a Canva presentation and I can screen share to have a slide show up.
Yes.
Any other suggestions for that kind of thing where they're going back and forth between their face and some written
Yeah,
something?
no, not really. It's a little clunky. So practice. If you're going to do that, like just know you have to do a few steps in between. So just, you know, practice if you're doing a slideshow or you have to show something on a screen share, just practice it before you're going to record. And I think people are like now so used to all of this. It's become so much more accepted. It's easier now than ever to do a course. You don't have to have any special big to-dos. I mean, just use what you have as long as it's, you know, pretty decent. So, okay, let's see what else we've got here. Somebody was saying, I need to see a creative interactive course float create for the client so they can move at their own pace. How do I do that without creating a monster? Well, I'm not sure I understand. I think that was Rebecca Ward again about that. I think you just lead them. What I suggest, and we don't have time to go through it, is that when you're creating this course, even a 90-minute workshop, you guys, you need to think about it as they're starting here and then you're going to end here. Again, look at that outcome. How do you get them there? Regardless if it's 90 minutes or 4 modules, there should be a few steps in between, and make sure you're not just giving them a bunch of random information, but you're leading them down the path. And I do this exercise with my people, and here's a quick tip on this. This is really fun, especially for you guys who are super creative and all that. Stand up and grab a sticky note pad, and when you stand up, take one step and say, what is the very first step that my people need? And write it on the sticky note and put it down. Then take another step and another step and another step until you get to the end of the steps. Then look at your steps and say, okay, wait, I think this step comes before that. That's why I love doing it on sticky notes, because you can move them around. And it's just like big things. Just pick the big steps, you know, first, like just identify what's going to be that step. If you're doing the 4 modules, doing your 4 steps or whatever. So make sure you're taking them on a journey, and that will kind of create what you were just saying. You're moving them through at their own pace, and you're making sure they go from here to here, maybe here to here. And they're going in, they're building on what they learn, and you're taking them on a journey when it comes to that. So it's not just like, here's a bunch of stuff, like move them through. You do the heavy lifting for them. They follow your steps. Okay. Not like they have to figure it out.
So, Donna, before we get to maybe 1 or 2 more questions, please share what your services are and everything you do for us.
Yeah, so I am helping people. If you just need help and want to go, I have no idea what she's talking about, but I would love to sit down with her and just do sort of a course consultation. Then we can do a lot of this and work it out over a couple hours. And I will do that. And then you can take it and go ahead and do your own course. But our most popular is like the Done For You course, which I know you're working with Laura. So if you guys still want to do some of that, we can kind of, I'll have to, you know, modify it, because we usually set you guys up on a platform or whatever, but we can modify that for like helping you get your recordings all laid out. I can't record for you, unfortunately. You've got to do that part. But we can map out so that you know what you're doing in every video, or this 90-minute workshop. I will help work through how to fit that into the 90-minute or the 4 4 modules, how it's all going to look. So that all you have to really do is record and hand it off to Laura, and you don't have to do anything else. So if you're like, I'm never going to be able to figure this out on my own, I've been trying for 6 months or 2 years, then I'll be happy just to have a call with you, just to see how I can help you. And we can kind of talk about it for you. If it's like, oh, something you were like, okay, just help me do this so I can finally get it done.
That sounds so super awesome. Natasha, I want to make sure I know I'm clear on your question. Workshops versus courses, can we cross-pollinate? I mean, I think I'm using the terms interchangeably a little bit. It just depends on the length of it and what you like to call it. But was there a specific question there that you can help me with?
I guess, so I'm like really new to this process. I mean, quite honestly, I was writing my chapter for Laura's new book, Mindset Mastery, and I just got a fresh download, and I came for, I just, the download included this tool, and then I just sort of wrote that, I'm going to be doing workshops around this. It was just an idea. So I'm really fresh off the boat, and then I saw it's serendipity, and then I saw Laura share today's course creation. I'm like, okay, I should just go and attend. Let's see what the message is here for me. So I was actually thinking that to have like a seminar or like a group of people together and then discuss the idea, and that's what I was thinking is a workshop. Maybe I'm wrong. And a course is something that people can just sign into separately, whether I'm there or not, right? So I was thinking, if I were to do a workshop, then can I record it and later offer that as a course?
Totally.
Or that's what I'm
Totally,
trying
you
to
can do that. Yes. So, I mean, a lot of you have done, plenty of you have done live workshops like you guys are attending right now.
Yeah.
You've been to my free ones, you've been to my paid classes, workshops. So, again, there's all kinds of terms for this, right? But
Yeah.
they're live. That means you're there live teaching, they attend. And yes, of course, you should be recording every bit of everything you do, because later it can be repurposed into a digital passive course. Now, for Transformation School, that's what we are doing. We're creating digital courses. We're not doing live on the platform. But if you are going to go ahead and do a live one and record it, guess what happens? You've got your course material, right? So it could be pretty cool.
Exactly. I take a lot of people's like workshops they've been doing like on a Saturday once a month, and then we put it into something. And I agree, it's interchangeable. Most people think of a workshop or a program as something that has some live support or live every Tuesday at 7 kind of a thing, but it is what it is. There's no true, like, this is what a course was more like a self-study. I think that's what people kind of feel today.
I think so too. Yeah.
So, but your course, many people create self-studies with me and then they turn it into a coaching program, because all you have to do is add a weekly coaching call with you, and you can charge $1,000 instead of the $297, because you're there helping them coach and you have all your modules already done and they have access to all of that. So it's great in the fact that you can do different things with these modules or this course once it's done.
And I will be super flexible and happy to talk to any of you who just heard that brilliant idea come out of her mouth. Because, then like, think about that for a minute. You've got the course, but you love to be live with people and support them and coach them and answer their questions over a longer period of time, because again, they need that, So let's talk about how you would have your contact information at the end of the course with a little button that goes somewhere where they can actually get access to that, whatever that thing is that ends up being live. You guys are going to see me launch a version of this soon. So be watching for that. Ginny, you have a question?
A comment question. I'm thinking of using courses in two ways. One is a standalone course for new people, but the other way as a follow-up or as a takeaway for an existing either in-person or online course, so they'll have the materials where they can go deeper. So it's like an added bonus or something to the course. It would be enough that somebody who'd never done the workshop could get value, but also, what do you think of that idea?
Well, I think courses can be used in so many different ways, but yes, it is almost like a taste if they're not ready to work with you one-to-one, and you do a little free something, and then you have like a lower end. Like, I think these are perfect. These 97 and 297 are great intro courses to have people get their feet wet and come in, and then they can move up with you if into more of a coaching group like we talked about, or some other one-to-one or something else on the backside. They can be used in so many ways, like I said, as just extras with your clients, or as upsells, or just something that is, like you said, something deeper from a book that they want to have something where they can really go deeper with you. So yeah, it sounds like a good idea. There's another question I want to answer real quick. Balance between PDF and videos. How much is too much or too little? It's hard to say. I'm not one of those people who's like, you have to have a 6-minute video and you have to have a PDF sheet that goes with every one. But I feel like the teaching is usually done inside of the video. Sometimes more is done in there. And then if there's a worksheet that they have to come figure it out. Now, if you're talking about PDF, like actual like words, like here's like the transcript, or here's like if you have an ebook, that kind of a thing, like the training is done. You know, I know there are people out there who very much like to read versus watch video or audio, but I think these days it's nice if you have the audio there. So I know for me, I would never read a big long PDF, but I know there are people out there who do that. But I feel like have a little bit more video and have the PDF be more like exercises or things, check cheat sheets or checklists or things that they can do, because if people have to see this big long thing they have to read, they may not do it, or they may be like, that's overwhelming.
I agree, you guys. The stuff that you load in addition to the main course content is enhancing it. It's little bonusy icing extras.
Sure.
It's like journal out your question here, or maybe ask it, you know, it's so I think that you can do as much of that or as little as you want. You don't have to do any, you know.
Yes.
And as we wrap up here in the next minute or two, any last burning questions we didn't get to, you guys? I think we got most all of them.
PDFs, when is it good to use slides?
Yeah.
When you have to show something, really, like most of the time a talking head will work, but like I have my woman from yesterday who was showing how to set things up inside of Canva or Zoom, or like, I think if it's something, or if it's a lot of information that you have to bullet point and you want them to remember, then it's a good thing to use slides if it helps with the visualization. Sometimes if it's too long and boring, they'll sort of zone out, but if they can follow something, so something that has to be really looked at, something very visual, exercises, you know, yoga poses, of course, you're going to want to show that stuff and not just like try to explain how to do down dog, right? So you're going to have to be, you know, use slides when you have to show something or really get a point across of something visual that they need to look at, math, finances, anything like that where they have to look. You guys aren't doing that, but the rest of it, try to make it experiential where they're experiencing and listening to you for that. And you don't have to use a ton of slides. That's my opinion.
Hey, Donna, I have a question.
Yeah.
So if we wanted to get your help in helping us put together the course, how much would that cost?
Well, like I said, it's just going to depend. I'm going to have to talk to you because normally I have a price, but you guys are not having your own platform and doing the whole thing. So,
so you're, yeah.
I will, if you want to just book a call to talk to me, we'll just get on there and I'll see what if you're doing a 90-minute versus the 4 module, it's going to make a big difference. So I don't want to just say a price without actually, you know, talking to you before we do it. Normally I'll just tell you, but it's not going to have anything. It's going to be different. So.
Right.
Yeah, you guys, please, I put Donna's link there and click on it now. So it pulls up on your computer, book a call, see what she can do for you. You guys, there's no affiliate relationship here. I don't get anything. I just think that Donna is awesome and she has a lot of valuable information to get with you. And again, I do have that ulterior motive because if you guys are inspired and you get those courses up onto the platform, then we're going to be able to launch this beautiful thing. And, you know, That was really why I wanted her to come and help you out. And there are also a lot of people who could help you. This is a hot topic right now. Donna has an idea about you healers, okay? She understands it. She made you breathe today, you guys. She knows. All right. So like, you got to just gonna get back in your body and be able to work with somebody who understands that whole process. And she started this call off with what's the why behind what you're doing. That is so important. And I know she's going to keep you in that zone if you work with her. So what I want to do now is I'm going to stop our live stream and I'm going to stop our recording. So thank you if you're watching the replay. You can get with Donna at donnaashton.com. And we're going to stick around for a couple more minutes because I want you guys to do us a quick favor. Okay, so Donna, thank you very much for being here. Hang on just one more minute.